Focus on yourself and let success speak. Focus on yourself and let success speak. When you look around, you will always find people who seem better, brighter, smarter, or more talented than you. Society has trained us to compare ourselves constantly. Our looks, our achievements, our education, our family, even our dreams. But the truth is, comparison is the thief of joy. The moment you start comparing, you start doubting your own worth. What we forget is that every single human being is designed with a different blueprint, a unique purpose, and a journey that no one else can walk. You were not meant to copy anyone. You were meant to create your own path. Embracing your uniqueness is not about arrogance. It is about self-acceptance, and it is the first step towards true success. So many of us waste years trying to fit into the molds that society has built. We try to look like others, speak like others, or achieve what they are achieving. We lose ourselves in the process of trying to become someone else's version of success. But have you noticed that even if you copy someone perfectly, the best you will ever be is a second, best version of them? That is why your individuality matters. There is only one of you on this planet, and that itself is proof that you are extraordinary. The day you accept that your scars, your flaws, your strengths, and even your failures are a part of your identity, that is the day you begin to rise. When I say embrace your uniqueness, I mean owning every part of yourself that you once thought was unworthy. Maybe people told you that you are too different, too loud, too quiet, too weak, or too strange. But what if the very thing they call too much is exactly what makes you powerful? The world doesn't need duplicates. It needs originals. And originals are often criticized first, before they are celebrated. If you stop living in fear of people's judgment, you will discover that your uniqueness is not a burden but a blessing. Success is not about blending in. It is about standing out with authenticity. When you are authentic, people may not always agree with you, but they will always respect you. Authenticity has a power that no imitation can match. You inspire others not by being flawless, but by being real. And in being real, you give permission to others to embrace who they are as well. Your uniqueness is also your greatest strength in achieving your dreams. Every skill you have, every perspective you carry, every challenge you have overcome, these combine to give you a voice and vision that nobody else has. If you silence that voice, the world loses a message that only you could give. You were not placed here to repeat someone else's story. You are here to write your own. And when you dare to walk confidently in your uniqueness, doors open, opportunities align, and success follows naturally because it is drawn to authenticity. Life has a way of testing us in ways we never imagine. One day everything seems perfect, and the next, it feels like the ground beneath our feet has been taken away. Setbacks come in many forms. Failure in exams, rejection from opportunities, betrayal from people we trust, or even tragedies that we never see coming. In those moments, it is easy to believe that everything is over, that our dreams are shattered, and that we are not strong enough to carry on. But let me remind you, setbacks are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to prepare you for something greater. Every downfall has within it the seed of a powerful comeback, if only you choose to see it that way. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure, gold is purified by fire, and seeds only grow when they are buried in the dark. The very challenges that make us feel broken are often shaping us into the strongest version of ourselves. When you face failure, don't let it define you, let it refine you. The truth is, every successful person you admire has walked through failure, rejection, and pain. What sets them apart is not that they never fell, but that they refused to stay down. They saw their setbacks not as the end of the road, but as a detour leading them to a better path. When you experience a setback, the first instinct is often to give up or blame circumstances. But what if you look at your failure and ask, what lesson is hidden here for me? Suddenly, what looked like a curse becomes a teacher. Maybe that rejection was redirection. Maybe that closed door was protecting you from walking into a place that wasn't meant for you. Maybe that heartbreak was the universe's way of showing you your own strength. If you are willing to shift your perspective, every loss can become a gain. Every defeat can become an opportunity to rise stronger. The most powerful comebacks don't happen when life gets easy again. They happen when you decide to rise in the middle of your storm. It is in the moments when people doubt you, when no one believes in you, when even you question your own worth, that your resilience is tested. And if you choose to keep going despite the pain, despite the scars, you build a character that no setback can ever destroy. That is where your true power lies, not in avoiding failure, but in learning to rise every single time you fall. Remember, scars are not signs of weakness, they are signs of survival. They tell the world that you were tested, but you refuse to break. Your setbacks are not the chapters you need to hide, they are the chapters that will inspire others. When people see how you turned your pain into purpose, your failure into strength, your loss into wisdom, they will see a story worth celebrating. And that story will be louder than any words you could ever speak, because comebacks speak for themselves. We live in a world that glorifies perfection. From social media filters to polished success stories, everywhere you look, you see people presenting flawless versions of themselves. And when you compare your reality to their highlight reel, you begin to feel inadequate. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion, and chasing it only leads to exhaustion and disappointment. What truly creates success is not perfection, but consistency. It is the small, repeated efforts you put in every single day that shape your destiny, not the unrealistic pursuit of being flawless. Think about a drop of water falling continuously on a rock. One drop may seem insignificant, but when it falls over time, it has the power to carve through solid stone. That is the power of consistency. In the same way, your daily habits, your discipline, and your commitment, even when the results are invisible, are what transform your life. Success does not come from doing extraordinary things once in a while, but from doing ordinary things with dedication every single day. The beauty of consistency is that it compounds little by little. Your efforts grow into something remarkable. The problem with perfection is that it paralyzes us. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of ourselves before we take action. But in reality, that moment never comes. Perfection keeps you stuck, while consistency moves you forward. Even when you fail, even when things don't go as planned, your willingness to show up again and again is what builds momentum. It is better to be consistently good than to be occasionally perfect. When you are consistent, you also build trust with yourself and with others. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen your self-belief. You begin to realize that you are capable, reliable, and disciplined. And when you keep showing up in your work, in your relationships, in your growth, people start to notice. They may not see your efforts immediately, but over time, your persistence speaks louder than any grand gesture. Consistency is also about patience. We live in a fast-paced world where everyone wants instant results, but meaningful success takes time. A tree does not bear fruit the day after it is planted. It takes roots, growth, and seasons of struggle before it blossoms. In the same way, your hard work may not pay off immediately, but every step you take is building something bigger. And when you learn to value progress over perfection, you begin to enjoy the journey instead of being fixated on the destination. The truth is, you don't need to be the best to succeed. You just need to keep going when others quit. Many people start with excitement, but they stop when things get tough. Consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It is about showing up even on the days when motivation is gone. Even on the days when you feel tired, even on the days when no one is clapping for you. That is the quiet discipline that creates lasting success. The world is full of voices, and not all of them are kind. Some will cheer for you, but many will criticize, doubt, or judge every step you take. From the moment you begin to chase your dreams, there will be people who question your choices, laugh at your failures, or even try to pull you down. And if you are not careful, those voices will become louder than your own, drowning your confidence and weakening your spirit. That is why one of the most powerful lessons in life is to silence the noise around you and stay true to the path that belongs to you. Criticism is inevitable. No matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. If you succeed, they will say it was luck. If you fail, they will say they predicted it. If you take a risk, they will call you foolish. And if you play it safe, they will call you weak. You cannot win by pleasing people, because their opinions will keep changing. The only way to win is by not letting their noise control your choices. When you learn to quiet those voices, you discover the freedom to live on your own terms. The noise around you often comes from fear of others projecting their own limitations onto you. When someone tells you that your dream is impossible, it is not your dream they are doubting, it is their own belief in themselves. People who never dared to fly will always tell you that wings are useless. If you allow their fears to become your reality, you will never know the heights you were meant to reach. That is why you must separate their noise from your truth. Silencing the noise is not about ignoring every opinion. It is about discerning which voices deserve space in your life. Constructive criticism can help you grow, but destructive negativity only drains your energy. Learn to filter the difference. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who remind you of your strength, who push you to rise higher and shut out the rest. You don't need the whole world to believe in you. You only need to believe in yourself. When you focus too much on what others say, you begin to lose your own voice. You start doubting your decisions, questioning your worth, and shrinking your dreams to fit someone else's comfort zone. But your voice is your power. It carries your vision, your passion, your truth. And if you silence yourself just to avoid criticism, you are betraying the very gift you were born with. The world doesn't need another echo of doubt. It needs the original sound of your authenticity. Every time you choose silence over noise, you reclaim your peace. Every time you walk away from toxic opinions, you gain clarity. And every time you keep moving forward despite the whispers behind your back, you prove that your focus is stronger than their distraction. Success is never built on noise. It is built on discipline, patience, and inner strength. The more you focus inward, the louder your results will become. We live in a society where people are constantly seeking validation. We look for approval in the eyes of others, hoping that someone will tell us we are good enough, beautiful enough, or worthy enough. But the reality is, no matter how much recognition you receive from the outside world, it will never be enough if you don't recognize your own worth from within. Self-love is not about arrogance or selfishness. It is about valuing yourself so deeply that you no longer need to beg for acceptance. It is about realizing that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you don't love yourself, you become a prisoner of people's opinions. You change who you are to fit into their standards. You shrink your dreams so you won't be judged. You silence your voice to avoid rejection. But when you begin to embrace self-love, something magical happens. You stop chasing people and you start attracting respect. People sense your confidence, your dignity, and your self-worth, and they respond to you differently. The love you give yourself sets the standard for how the world will treat you. Self-love also means accepting your flaws and imperfections. For too long, many of us have been taught to hide our scars, to cover our weaknesses, to pretend to be perfect. But those scars are not signs of shame, they are signs of survival. Every flaw tells a story of resilience, every imperfection carries a lesson, and every challenge has shaped you into who you are today. When you honor your scars instead of hiding them, you empower yourself and give courage to others who are fighting their own battles. Another important part of self-love is setting boundaries. Too often, we drain ourselves trying to please everyone around us. We say yes when our heart says no. We tolerate disrespect because we are afraid of losing people. But true empowerment comes when you learn to say no without guilt and yes without fear. When you respect your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being, you create space for growth and peace. And the people who truly value you will respect those boundaries, while those who don't will naturally fall away. Self-love is also the foundation of resilience. When life knocks you down, when failures surround you, when you feel like giving up, it is love for yourself that reminds you to rise again. It whispers, "You are stronger than this storm. You are worthy of another chance. You are enough." Without self-love, setbacks crush you. With self-love, setbacks shape you. This inner strength becomes your anchor when everything else feels uncertain. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about self-love is that it doesn't just transform you. It transforms everyone around you. When you love yourself, you stop pouring from an empty cup. You give from a place of wholeness instead of neediness. Your relationships improve, your confidence grows, and your presence becomes inspiring. By empowering yourself through self-love, you give others permission to love themselves too. And that ripple effect can change the world. When people talk about success, they often describe it in terms of wealth, fame, or recognition. But true success is not measured by what you accumulate, it is measured by what you contribute. Life becomes meaningful when you use your talents, your voice, and your experiences to serve a purpose greater than yourself. You may achieve everything you ever dreamed of, but if your success only benefits you, it will never satisfy your soul. Real fulfillment comes when your journey inspires, uplifts, and empowers others. Serving beyond yourself does not always mean doing something massive or public. It can be as simple as offering a kind word, lending a helping hand, or sharing your story with honesty. Sometimes the greatest service you can give is showing someone that they are not alone in their struggle. When you take the pain you have endured and turn it into a source of comfort or motivation for someone else, you transform suffering into strength. That act of giving makes your success more than personal. It makes it purposeful. The truth is, your hardships prepare you to help others in ways that comfort cannot. If you have been through rejection, you can guide someone who feels unwanted. If you have faced failure, you can encourage someone who is about to give up. If you have survived loss, you can hold space for someone grieving in silence. Serving beyond yourself is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is about being willing to use your scars as a light for someone walking through darkness. When you dedicate your success to a cause greater than yourself, you also find deeper motivation. There will be days when you feel tired, uninspired, or even discouraged. But when you know your journey is not just about you, when you understand that someone out there needs your courage to keep going, you rise even on the hardest days. Serving others gives your struggles a meaning and your victories a purpose that personal ambition alone can never provide. Another gift of serving beyond yourself is that it humbles you. No matter how high you rise, no matter how much you achieve, service reminds you that life is not about ego, but about impact. It teaches you gratitude for what you have and compassion for those who are still fighting their battles. It shifts your focus from asking, "What can I gain?" to asking, "What can I give?" That shift creates a success that is not temporary but timeless. The legacy you leave behind will not be the trophies on your shelf or the money in your account. It will be the lives you touched, the hope you sparked, and the kindness you shared. People may forget your titles, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That is why the greatest mark of success is not applause, but service. It is not in the noise of recognition, but in the quiet moments when your actions lift someone else higher. And the more you give, the more your success becomes a story that continues long after you. In life, there will always be people who underestimate you, who doubt your abilities, and who question whether you can achieve anything significant. Some may even laugh at your dreams or dismiss your potential simply because they cannot see the vision that burns inside you. And in those moments, the temptation to argue, to prove yourself, to defend your worth through words becomes very strong. But the truth is, you do not need to waste your energy convincing anyone of your value. The most powerful answer you can ever give to doubt is not explanation, it is action. Let your success make the noise that words never could. Success speaks a language that everyone understands. When you continue working in silence, when you dedicate yourself to your goals without distraction, eventually the results will shine brighter than any argument. People may not believe your words, but they cannot deny your results. Every milestone you achieve, every obstacle you overcome, every dream you turn into reality becomes undeniable evidence of your strength. Your actions will silence critics in ways your voice never could. There is also a quiet dignity in working without constantly seeking recognition. In today's world, people are obsessed with showing off progress before it is even complete. They post every small step online, hoping for applause, but true achievers know that greatness grows in silence. Seeds do not announce themselves when they are buried. They simply grow roots until the day they rise above the soil. In the same way, when you nurture your vision patiently and privately, it eventually blossoms in a way that no one can ignore. Letting your success speak is also about conserving your energy. Every minute you spend explaining yourself to people who do not believe in you is a minute you could have spent building yourself. Critics will always exist, but their words cannot stop you unless you allow them to. Instead of trying to convince them, put that energy into proving to yourself what you are capable of. Focus on the process, stay disciplined, and let the results do the talking. Another beauty of letting your success speak is that it inspires others. When people see you rise from challenges, when they see your consistency pay off, when they see that you chose silence over arguments and action over excuses, they find hope in your journey. Without even realizing it, you become a source of motivation for those who are silently fighting their own battles. Your success becomes more than personal. It becomes an example that guides others. So do not waste time in noise. Work in silence. Grow in silence, heal in silence, build in silence. And then one day, when you stand tall with the results of your hard work, let that be the loudest sound anyone hears. Because the world does not need to be convinced by your words. It will be convinced by your results. And when you finally let your success speak, it will not just silence the doubts of others. It will remind you of your own strength. It will prove that you never needed to argue, never needed to beg for belief, never needed to fight for validation. You only needed to focus, persist, and rise. Success has its own voice. And when it speaks louder than anything else in the world.